Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another video. In the previous video, as you've just watched, we have just left off from the tarot reading and the biblical scripture reading, which some of you may now have noticed the feathered serpent has appeared in the background, in the shadows. And this has been done specifically through the symbolism used in the Hindu culture, which Hindu belief derived the Sikhs. You see, when understanding the teachings of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, you must realize that initially the Maya, which Maya is a Hindu term, which means world of illusion or dream world. You now see that in combining the symbolizations of the Hindu gods in the Sikh seminar, the Sikh blade, which if I may unsheath for you now, and make the feathered serpent disappear. As you may see, this is a ceremonial blade, if I may shine it under a certain light. Excuse me, it's rather dim. And this is inscribed itself with its own incantation, which from this particular blade, as a man that is a Sikh, a man that chooses for the rest of his life from the moment he is born, ahead of his own choosing, through the faith of the Sikh, ahead of his own choosing, the moment you are born, your head is then shaved, and from there your entire life is then grown through the memories of your hair, which store every single memory of yours. And now you see that from the moment you shave the hair, you create a break in the continuation of the entire story, which if you were predestined to continue that story, if we did not shave the head, you would remember the entirety of all human history. And that can be achieved in a very deep Kundalini rise, which is a teaching of Hindu belief, which now as a Sikh, a man stemming from the region of India, where other religions themselves arose as a result of the Hindu gods, where now you see you become a soldier of God and you are given your ceremonial blade. In the accepting of your ceremonial blade, you accept the work you are to perform for the rest of your life, because it is in the work that a man finds God. It is in the man's duty to work, because in finding God, man finds the ability to provide, the ability to protect, and the ability to overcome, which is what this ceremonial scimitar means. And from this particular culture, we then see the rise of the martial art known as Kalahi Bayatu, which is what Bodhidharma taught. And this is what he taught to the general Daitsu Huike, the Chinese general that became the patriarch of the Shaolin Monastery. And now you see how far Hindu belief has influenced, because it did not just stem and spread eastward through some of China. Hindu belief even ventured into the Americas, where you see the rise into the Mayans, folk that lived of the dream world, in a world of illusion. And now you see we are here and now in this world of illusion, where the truth has been concealed. What is the truth? I can only expose it so much. Eventually I have to leave it up to you to find out on your own. In the idea of a shepherd, you can only lead the lambs to safety, but you cannot assure that the wolf will not attack. You stand your guard, but that does not mean that at your post will not come a landslide. And now we see the story of Moses, whom meets the burning bush and meeting God, meeting I am. Another key reflection to the word Maya. I am Maya. Or you could specifically say I am Ea, which would be the correct pronunciation. We now re-enter the story of creation at Adam and Eve. What are some of the oldest faiths? Well, for one, some of the oldest kingdoms of the world have stemmed an immense amount of wisdom throughout many different cultures, which is why I invite you as a viewer to not specifically just worship in one religion, but to find truth in all religion. Because religion and borders are what separate us from each other. A border separates us in the physical. A religion separates us from the mind, in our minds, where we now see a divide amongst ourselves as people. We're not just in the borders we are contained within, but in the religions we are contained within. We then see that we have been taught to be separated from ourselves since the beginning. What is the Maya? What is this world of illusion? Now when we see the rise of the Sikh, which descended into many different other cultures, where you see the rise of the serpent, the Kundalini, the activation of chakric energy, where you enter an energetic lung rhythm, where according to your thought process, you feel your emotions breathe through you, according to the stimulus of your thoughts. Because your thoughts all of a sudden now have a pull, just like gravity. And through this pull, in the echolocation chamber, you can emit a rapid impulse. You see, in the mind and in the physical world, we are given two keys. Just as the first two kings, the two first offerings, an embalming to preserve yourself even beyond death. And then you see gold, immense wealth, which once you understand this particular teaching, which is the continuation of space-time is infinite. Life is simply just a measure of that particular space-time. But beyond this, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It simply transfers states. And in this beauty, you now see a different religious aspect, which is the continuation known not just as resurrection, but the continuation known as the ability to be reborn and reincarnated in separate lives, which is a teaching Christ taught when he specifically would say, there will be another coming. And so to the world, I invite you to begin doing your work. Not just for others, but for yourselves predominantly. Discover who you are. Discover what you're made of. Discover all of your history within yourself. But don't abuse the power you are given. For the more you seek to find the truth, the more you become blind to it, which is known as addiction. And so, my friends in my world, welcome to the next era of mankind. Thank you.